There's a good chance that right now, as you're watching this, you felt that dull, aching pain in your legs more than once today. Maybe it's a sharp twinge when you stand up after sitting too long. Maybe it's that deep soreness at the end of the day, the kind that makes climbing into bed feel like a relief. Or maybe, just maybe, it's that frustrating stiffness that greets you every single morning when you wake up. It's easy to blame it on age, on wear and tear, on that old injury from years ago. But what if I told you that something as simple as the food on your plate could be making it worse? That every bite you take could be either soothing your pain or feeding the fire of inflammation inside your body. Most people don't realize that their diet plays a major role in how their joints and muscles feel. We talk about bad backs and sore knees, but how often do we talk about how the food we eat every day is secretly making our legs feel stiff, weak, or swollen? Certain foods are known to trigger inflammation, increase stiffness, and make recovery from pain nearly impossible. And today, we're going to talk about them, one by one. If you don't want your leg pain to get worse, these are the 9 foods you need to stop eating immediately. The first culprit is one that most people can't seem to give up: processed sugar. It's in nearly everything: your morning coffee, your afternoon snack, and even those so-called healthy foods you pick up from the grocery store. The problem with sugar is that it fuels inflammation like gasoline on a fire. It raises your blood sugar levels, which triggers your body to release more inflammatory chemicals, making your joints and muscles feel stiff and swollen. Ever notice that after a sugary treat, your legs feel heavier, sorer, or more tired? That's not a coincidence. Over time, too much sugar contributes to chronic pain conditions like arthritis, and it prevents your body from healing properly. And it's not just white sugar. High fructose corn syrup, artificial sweeteners, and even excessive natural sugars from fruit juices can have the same effect. People often think fruit juices are a healthy choice, but what they don't realize is that they contain just as much sugar as a can of soda. Without the fiber from whole fruit to slow down the absorption, it spikes your blood sugar and contributes to inflammation. Next up is something most of us grew up eating without a second thought: refined grains. White bread, pasta, white rice, these foods are stripped of their natural nutrients and fiber, leaving behind nothing but simple carbohydrates that turn into sugar almost instantly in your body. Just like processed sugar, refined grains lead to inflammation, weight gain, and blood sugar spikes. And if you're already dealing with leg pain, adding excess weight from a poor diet only makes things worse, putting more strain on your knees, ankles, and feet. I've spoken to many older folks who swear they feel worse after a big pasta dinner or after eating too much white bread. That's because these refined grains don't offer anything beneficial to your joints. They only contribute to stiffness and swelling. Switching to whole grains, on the other hand, can make a big difference. Brown rice, quinoa, and whole grain. Bread are packed with fiber and nutrients that actually help reduce inflammation instead of making it worse. Then there's fried and processed foods, the kind that tempt you from every corner: fast food, frozen meals, deep-fried snacks. These foods are loaded with trans fats, which are among the worst offenders when it comes to inflammation. They disrupt the natural balance in your body, leading to increased pain, stiffness, and a higher risk of chronic conditions like arthritis. If you've ever eaten a greasy fast food meal and felt sluggish, tired, or even achy afterward, that's your body telling you something. These unhealthy fats create long-term damage in your joints and muscles, making it harder for your legs to move freely and without pain. And don't be fooled by labels that say partially hydrogenated oils. These are just another name for the trans fats that cause damage to your body. They're found in margarine, packaged snacks, and even some so-called healthy protein bars. Your best bet? Stick to healthy fats like olive oil, avocado, and nuts, which actually help your body fight inflammation instead of causing it. We're just getting started, but already you can see how the everyday foods we consume without thinking can slowly wear down our bodies. These are just 3 of the 9 foods that could be making your leg pain worse, but they're some of the biggest, Culprits. If you truly want to take control of your health, it starts with knowing what you're putting into your body every single day. Most people don't realize that the foods they've been eating for years, maybe even their entire lives, are quietly making their pain worse. It's easy to ignore. After all, food brings comfort, doesn't it? But comfort can be deceptive, especially when the things that taste so good end up making your legs ache more and more over time. We've already talked about sugar, refined grains, and fried foods, but we're not done yet. There are still more foods that silently contribute to leg pain, and if you want to feel better, it's time to face them head on. Let's talk about something that's often considered a breakfast staple: dairy products. Milk, cheese, butter, and even yogurt. Many of these are loaded with saturated fats that increase inflammation in your body. Now, don't get me wrong. I grew up in a time when a glass of milk was considered essential for strong bones. But as we age, our bodies change. What once felt nourishing can start to feel like a burden. For many people, dairy products trigger inflammation, especially in the joints. If you've ever felt more stiffness or soreness after a cheesy meal or a bowl of ice cream, it's not your imagination. Your body might be reacting to the proteins in dairy, particularly casein, which can irritate the tissue around your joints and make your legs feel swollen and achy. I remember talking to an old friend who struggled with leg pain for years. He tried every cream, every therapy, every painkiller. Nothing worked. Then, on a whim, he decided to cut dairy out of his diet for a month. He couldn't believe the difference. His legs felt lighter, his mornings less painful. It's not that dairy is evil, but for some of us, it's a silent contributor to the pain we carry every day. And then there's red meat, another favorite, that often finds its way onto our plates more often than we'd like to admit. Burgers, steaks, sausages, these are loaded with saturated fats and advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. Now, AGEs might sound complicated, but here's the simple truth. They're formed when meat is cooked at high temperatures, like grilling or frying, and they cause inflammation in your body. The more inflammation, the more pain. I've seen people who loved their weekend barbecues but couldn't figure out why their legs felt worse every Monday morning. It's not a coincidence. Reducing your intake of red meat can make a noticeable difference in your leg pain over time. But here's the tricky part. Most people don't even realize how often they're eating red meat. It's in breakfast sausages, deli slices, and even that quick dinner you grab when you're too tired to cook. Cutting back doesn't mean you have to give it up entirely, but being mindful of how much you're eating can ease the strain on your body. Another food that many don't suspect is alcohol. Now, I know what you might be thinking. A glass of wine at dinner or a cold beer after a long day doesn't seem like a big deal. But alcohol dehydrates your body, and dehydration is a direct path to muscle cramps, stiffness, and pain, especially in your legs. On top of that, alcohol increases uric acid levels, which can trigger gout, a painful condition that often affects the legs and feet. I've seen too many people dismiss that evening drink, not realizing how much it's contributing to their discomfort. It's not about giving it up entirely, though some find that helps, but about being aware of how much you're consuming and how it affects your body. And let's not forget salt. We sprinkle it on everything, from our eggs in the morning to our dinner at night. But too much salt leads to water retention, and that swelling can make your legs feel heavy, tight, and painful. Processed foods are the biggest culprits. Canned soups, frozen meals, chips, and even that sandwich from your favorite deli. Most of them are loaded with hidden salt. I've spoken to folks who couldn't figure out why their legs felt swollen at the end of the day, only to realize that their diet was packed with sodium. Reducing salt isn't just good for your blood pressure. It's a gift to your legs, making them feel lighter and less inflamed. So here we are: dairy, red meat, alcohol, and salt. 4 more foods that quietly contribute to the pain in your legs. But here's the thing about pain. It's persistent, yes, but it's also something you can manage, even reduce, with the right choices. It's not about depriving yourself. It's about giving your body what it needs to heal, to move freely, to carry you through life without that constant ache slowing you down. We've talked about several foods already: sugar, refined grains, fried foods, dairy, red meat, alcohol, and salt. Each one, in its own way, adds to the burden your legs carry every day. But knowing which foods to avoid is only part of the puzzle. To truly understand why these foods worsen your leg pain, we need to take a step back and look at the bigger picture, the science behind it all. You see, most leg pain, whether it's from arthritis, muscle strain, or nerve issues, is connected to one major culprit: inflammation. Inflammation isn't always a bad thing. When you cut your finger or twist your ankle, inflammation is your body's way of healing. It sends extra blood, nutrients, and immune cells to the injured area to help it recover. But when inflammation becomes chronic, when it sticks around long after the initial injury or strain, it becomes a problem. And that's exactly what happens when we eat the wrong foods over and over again. Take sugar, for example. When you eat something sugary, your blood sugar levels spike. Your body responds by releasing insulin to help absorb that sugar. But with insulin, your body also releases inflammatory chemicals called cytokines. These cytokines travel through your bloodstream, reaching your joints and muscles, causing them to swell and ache. Over time, this constant cycle of sugar spikes and inflammation wears down your body, making your legs feel heavier, stiffer, and more painful. Refined grains work in much the same way. They're quickly broken down into sugar in your body, triggering that same inflammatory response. But there's another layer to this. When your blood sugar is consistently high, it can lead to something called glycation, where sugar molecules attach to your body's proteins, forming harmful compounds that damage your joints, muscles, and nerves. This damage is often felt in the legs, where circulation is already slower compared to other parts of the body. Now, let's talk about fats, the good and the bad. Trans fats, found in fried and processed foods, are some of the most damaging. They not only increase inflammation, but also reduce your body's ability to produce omega-3 fatty acids, which are essential for reducing inflammation. It's like pulling out the fire extinguisher and lighting another fire at the same time. Your body becomes overwhelmed, and the pain in your legs becomes more intense and long-lasting. Dairy and red meat introduce another problem. Both are high in arachidonic acid, a type of fat that your body converts into inflammatory chemicals. For some people, even a small amount of dairy or red meat can trigger joint pain and muscle stiffness. And when you combine that with the saturated fats found in these foods, the result is a perfect storm of inflammation that settles into your legs, making every step a reminder of the pain. Alcohol, while often consumed for relaxation, actually does the opposite for your body. It dehydrates you, and when your muscles are dehydrated, they're more prone to cramps, stiffness, and fatigue. But it doesn't stop there. Alcohol also interferes with your liver's ability to clear out toxins, allowing more inflammatory substances to build up in your body. This is why many people feel more pain after a night of drinking, especially in their legs, where blood flow is already more limited. Salt, on the other hand, affects your body in a more direct way. When you consume too much salt, your body holds on to extra water to help balance the sodium levels. This extra water increases the pressure in your blood vessels, making it harder for blood to flow freely. Poor circulation means your legs don't get the oxygen and nutrients they need, leading to swelling, fatigue, and pain. For those already dealing with conditions like varicose veins or peripheral artery disease, too much salt can make the discomfort almost unbearable. But here's the good news. Just as the wrong foods can worsen your leg pain, the right foods can help reduce it. Studies have shown that people who switch to an anti-inflammatory diet experience significant improvements in their joint and muscle pain. Foods rich in antioxidants, omega-3s, and fiber can reduce inflammation, improve circulation, and help your body heal from the inside out. I've seen people who struggled with leg pain for years find relief simply by changing what they ate. One gentleman I knew could barely walk to the mailbox without pain. He cut out sugar, reduced his salt intake, and started eating more vegetables, fish, and whole grains. Within a few months, he was not only walking without pain, but even taking evening strolls with his wife, something he hadn't done in years. We've come a long way together, haven't we? By now, you understand how foods like sugar, refined grains, fried foods, dairy, red meat, alcohol, and salt can make your leg pain worse. It's not just about what you feel today, it's about the long-term damage these foods can cause to your joints, muscles, and nerves. But here's the thing about wisdom. It doesn't just point out the problem, it also shows you the path forward. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about now. Because if you've made it this far, I know one thing for sure. You're ready to take control of your health. You're ready to make the changes that your body needs, even if they're not easy at first. So let's talk about what you can do starting today to reduce your leg pain and improve your quality of life. First, let's start with something simple: hydration. I can't tell you how many people underestimate the power of water. Your muscles, joints, and even your nerves need proper hydration to function well. When you're dehydrated, your muscles cramp, your joints stiffen, and your nerves become more sensitive to pain. Drinking enough water every day helps flush out toxins, keep your tissues hydrated, and reduce inflammation. And no, coffee and soda don't count. If anything, they make dehydration worse. Aim for at least 8 glasses of water a day, and your legs will thank you for it. Next, let's talk about anti-inflammatory foods. These are the foods that help calm the fire inside your body. They reduce swelling, improve blood flow, and provide your muscles and joints with the nutrients they need to heal and stay strong. One of the best places to start is with leafy greens like spinach, kale, and Swiss chard. These vegetables are packed with vitamins and antioxidants that fight inflammation. I know someone who struggled with knee pain for years, and the simple act of adding more greens to her diet made a noticeable difference within weeks. Fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines are another powerful tool against leg pain. They're rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which are known to reduce inflammation and improve joint health. Even if you're not a fan of fish, there are other options like chia seeds, flax seeds, and walnuts that offer similar benefits. I've seen people who could barely climb stairs find relief just by incorporating more omega-3s into their diet. And then there are berries. Blueberries, strawberries, blackberries. These little fruits are packed with antioxidants that help fight the damage caused by inflammation. They're like tiny shields protecting your joints and muscles from further harm. A handful of berries a day can do more for your leg pain than you might imagine. But let's be honest, cutting out foods you've loved for years isn't easy. It takes time, effort, and a lot of patience. My advice? Start slow. You don't have to give up everything at once. Begin by cutting back on 1 or 2 foods from the list we've talked about. Maybe you reduce your sugar intake first, or swap out white bread for whole grains. As you start to feel the difference, it becomes easier to keep going. And remember, you're not alone in this. Many people have walked this path before you, and many will walk it after you. I've seen people in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s completely transform their health just by making better food choices. They didn't do it overnight, but every small change added up. And before they knew it, their leg pain wasn't running their lives anymore. One last piece of wisdom I want to share with you. Listen to your body. It's always talking to you. That stiffness in the morning, that ache after a meal, that heaviness at the end of the day. They're all signs. Your body is telling you what it needs and what it doesn't. Pay attention. Respect it. Because at the end of the day, taking care of your body is the most important investment you'll ever make. So, if you're ready to stop letting leg pain control your life, start with your plate. Remove the foods that hurt you and nourish your body with the foods that heal. It won't happen overnight, but every step you take brings you closer to a life with less pain and more freedom. And isn't that what we're all looking for? Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope this conversation has given you the clarity and motivation to make the changes you need. Remember, it's never too late to start healing. Until next time, take care of yourself. You deserve it.